Hi, my name is Marie Clements and I graduated from Assumption in 2010. I'm now in my third year of medical school at the University of Louisville. I'm so excited that Assumption has chosen to honor the Cambodia Project during this year's Mercy celebration. I'm here to talk a little bit about how the project started and what I learned from it. The idea started during our freshman year of high school back in 2006 in geography class. As we studied East Asia, Mr. Cope, our teacher, shared some articles with us from the New York Times by a writer named Nicholas Kristof. Kristof writes about various social justice and human rights issues. These particular articles centered around human trafficking in Cambodia. You may have learned a little about human trafficking at school or on the news. It's a form of modern-day slavery and involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act from another person. In this case, the article focused specifically on sex trafficking in Cambodia, where young girls are kidnapped, sold, coerced, or forced into prostitution. This has been an especially big issue in Cambodia, but it's important to note that it's a big problem in the U.S. as well, including in Kentucky. The first article we read was about how common it is for girls and women in Cambodia to be forced into the sex industry. The girls in our class are really shocked and distressed to read about these young girls. Many of us had no idea that practices like this went on. These girls were our age or younger and were experiencing a very different life with different fears and different hardships than we were. Learning about their struggles made ours feel very small in comparison. We felt moved by their stories and wanted to do something to help. And then we read the second article. Mr. Kristof has explored many different ways to fight sex trafficking. He found that he could buy girls out of the sex industry and free them. However, many didn't have an education or skills that would enable them to get a job and earn money, so they ended up right back where they started in the sex industry again. He discovered that a more effective way to fight sex trafficking was to prevent it before it started, through education. Girls who are educated are much less likely to end up in the sex trafficking industry. They are independent and have learned skills to be able to get a job and make a living for themselves and for their families. So this article laid out a great goal for us. If we wanted to take action, we could build a school in Cambodia to give young girls there the independence, confidence, and skills they needed to prevent them from ending up in the sex trafficking industry. Now, I could probably talk about this project all day, but as you can probably guess since I'm talking to you, the project succeeded. A group of dedicated students spent 4 years planning fundraisers and raising awareness about sex trafficking in Cambodia, and our senior year, the school was completed. We had the amazing opportunity to then go visit the school during Mercy Week of that year. This experience was truly one of the most rewarding and memorable experiences of my life. I learned so much about leadership, social justice, teamwork, planning, fundraising, and problem solving. What I especially learned, though, is not to underestimate yourself. A lot of people probably thought that a few 14-year-olds trying to build a school in a country halfway across the globe was pretty impractical. But we felt really strongly about the cause, and we worked hard and were creative and innovative and accomplished our goal together. I've always loved the quote from Margaret Mead, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." I think this quote fits well with your theme about the power of one, whether that's one person or a small group of students, as in our case. Of course, that doesn't mean that the one person or small group does it all by themselves. I'm sure someone has in very rare cases, but usually that one person or group are passionate about a cause and they share that passion with other people. And that can ignite a flame in others, and then together everyone works together to bring about change. In our case, it was the group of students, Mr. Cope and Ms. Joaquin, our amazing teachers at Assumption, who met with us and guided us during many early morning meetings, the faculty and community of Assumption, our parents and friends who supported us. It started with a small seed, reading a couple of articles in Mr. Cope's geography class, and then it grew and grew, and everyone together made it happen. The project and going to school at Assumption sort of made me realize that helping others and giving to the community and doing acts of mercy shouldn't be optional. It really is a responsibility as people who grew up in maybe a more privileged position than others, with an education, with food on our plates, and a safe place to live. We've been so lucky to have been given these privileges, and with that, it's part of our job to bring about a better life for others. No one chooses whether they're born in Cambodia or Louisville or Syria or wherever else. No one chooses if they're born with disabilities or into an abusive family. People have all sorts of hardships, and if we're able, it's so important to help others to have a better and happier life. And it's usually really rewarding and a lot of fun. It took so much hard work and time and energy to build the school in Cambodia, but we truly had a blast doing it. So don't forget that it only takes one or a few to bring about change and to accomplish acts of mercy. All of you here today are so lucky to be at a school that's so supportive of their students. I've always been grateful for the support and encouragement that Assumption showed us when we were just a group of 14-year-olds with a pretty massive goal in mind. The trust of Mr. Cope, Ms. Joaquin, the Assumption faculty, and the independence they allowed us to have were truly fundamental to the success of the project. This is definitely part of what makes Assumption such an incredible school. I expect great things from all of you during your time at Assumption and beyond. Thanks.